What makes a good friend? Is it someone who makes you laugh? Is it someone who is a good listener? Is it someone you can rely on to give you something you need? In my experience, it's all of those things. But when someone gives you something, more often than not, you're expecting to pay them back. So let's talk about debt. A word that sounds scary, but is it? Traditionally, debt is defined as money that was borrowed from one party with the expectation that it will be paid back in a defined amount of time, and with interest. But the history of debt began before money existed. Mesopotamia, 3500 BC. Farmers would borrow equipment and tools from kings and often be unable to pay them back. The king, in return, would receive the farmer's children to work on his property as payback. This couldn't last, and sounds terrible. Luckily, it did not last. Kids are safe, but are your bank accounts? Because when it comes to borrowing and paying back your debts to the banks, it can be a slippery slope. So, is all debt bad? If you were a farmer in Mesopotamia, it was. But today, not so much. Debt can be good or bad depending on your financial situation and how you are choosing to use your money. Good debt is generally described as anything that is helping you make more money down the road. Examples might be borrowing money for an education or for a house that you're investing in for the future. It takes money to make money. The catch is, there is also bad debt. This is when you borrow money to pay for things that won't earn you money or gain value over time. When you borrow money to buy video games or clothes, you will have new debt, with interest to pay back, and no new profits to pay it back with. A total net loss. I repeat, do not borrow money to buy things that don't make money. Knowing when you are in a position to take on debt is something that we all deal with, because no two people are in the same financial situation. Some have less income, others have big bills, some have families, but almost everyone at some point has debt. A general rule is to never take on new debt if you have little to no new income, whether it is with credit cards or loans. Unless it is an emergency, spending money without making money will lead to problems. Also, signing up for multiple credit cards may give you short-term spending power, but almost always lead to long-term issues with your credit and interest fees. So avoid whenever possible. Ask yourself if you're able to pay back the borrowed money when it is due. If you aren't sure if the answer is yes, the answer is no. Now, the goal should always be to earn money rather than borrow it. But sometimes, having extra money to spend on your business or education is worth taking out a loan for, because it will lead to new money down the road. Just make sure you are financially secure enough to make it work for you. But like most things, when it comes to taking on debt, do your research and ask if it's worth it. Never be afraid to invest in yourself, but proceed with caution. Luckily, we're here to help. So the next time you hear debt, know that it can be a good thing or bad thing. And whether it is, depends on how you define it. And on that note, let's discuss a few ways to achieve financial freedom. With STEP, budgeting your expenses is an important way to stay on track to hit your short-term goals and invest in your long-term goals. Without a budget, most of us would just spend our entire paycheck the minute we got it. That's why we have to determine our wants versus needs. Sure, we want to give our favorite creators tips on Twitch, but do we have the finances for it? Budgeting our money allows us to set limits on spending, leading to more financial freedom and less financial issues. There is no one right way to budget your money. Like always, it depends on your personal situation. However, setting aside a percentage of your income for bills you can expect, savings goals you want to meet, and room for a few fun purchases can give you a blueprint for checking off a bunch of boxes. With a budget, all aspects of your financial freedom will be thriving, because there aren't any surprises. But you may be shocked to see how fast a month can pass, and that's when subscription fees show up. And in our ever-changing economy, subscription payments are at an all-time high. So let's talk about them. Companies like Apple Music, Spotify, Netflix, Disney Plus, and more are subscription-based, meaning you pay a fee each month. Some of them only cost a few dollars a month, but when you add them all up, it starts to become more money than you were expecting. And more often than not, we sign up to get those 7-day free trials we only intend to use for one day, stop using them, but keep paying for them, and forget. Managing your subscriptions is a smart way to take stock of what apps and services you are really using and what is worth paying for. It adds up quickly, and if you were to subscribe to Apple Music, Spotify, Netflix, and YouTube TV, just those would cost $103 a month. So make sure to stay on top of your subscriptions, keep a list, budget accordingly, and review that list to make sure you still use all those subscriptions you are paying for. And if not, go cancel the ones you don't need. And remember, as much as Step would like to help you cancel all these unused subscriptions, we are not able to. That is something you have to do as a subscriber directly with that company. The good news is that with Step, money can go into your account as easily as it can go out of it. Introducing Allowance. Allowances allow sponsors, usually a parent or guardian, to set up regularly timed deposits in your account. This feature helps users under 18 understand the benefit of a paycheck early on and is a helpful tool for your parents to track and send you money on a recurring basis. Payments can be set up weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, and sponsors can set it and forget it, edit, or skip allowances as they see fit. Each payment leaves their account automatically and goes into yours automatically because it's scheduled. Super easy. When it comes to financial freedom, having a plan is the name of the game. With budgeting, managing your subscriptions, and learning about ways to receive allowances, you're well on your way to success. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Kelly Wakasa. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Step, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can start spending your money your way. The history of bank robbing goes back a long way. In fact, it's as old as banks. Where there was a bank, there would be a robber. In America, the first recorded bank robbery was committed by Jesse James in 1866. He left with $16,000, the equivalent of $115,000 today.